Well, it's Saturday and we need to make dinner. Hello family, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki and you're with Grammy in the Kitchen. Every Saturday is dedicated to what we ate this week. So the first meal we're going to make is going to be Indian chicken curry. I'll leave a link in the description below for the recipe that we're following. And as usual, it's getting tweaked just a bit. I will also include my recipe on what we're tweaking. But first we need to go ahead and get started on the rice. So this is some basmati rice. I am doing 1 cup, small pinch of salt, a little pinch of pepper. We'll add about a teaspoon of olive oil. I'm sorry, it's avocado oil. And I'm gonna put just 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground turmeric. That's going to give us our yellow rice. We're adding a pint of chicken broth and a cup of water. Give that a little stir. This is going to go on the stove on medium heat for about 20 minutes. Last week I had a little bit of green pepper left over. Recipe doesn't call for that, but we're going to add it anyway. And this is the onion we had from last week. I need to go ahead and get it all chopped up. Use what we need today, and the rest of it I'll put in the freezer. Before we work on the chicken, let's go ahead and get our spice blend together. So I have some curry powder. We need a tablespoon. Cumin, a teaspoon. Coriander, this is ground coriander, a teaspoon. Teaspoon of turmeric. It calls for cayenne pepper. I'm just going to add a pinch of crushed red pepper flakes. Whisk all those spices together. Perfect. I have a thawed frozen garlic puck and a couple pieces of ginger that's been grated. Now the recipe calls for chicken breast, but you know we can always catch chicken thighs on sale. So I decided to use one of our home debone, deskin chicken thighs, and I have 4 pieces. I'm going to cut them into about 1-inch cubes. I took this out of the freezer earlier this week. And now we need to use them. I'm going to take a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, sprinkle it on their chicken. Give that a little toss. And now we're ready to move over to the stove and start cooking this chicken and get this dinner together. I have the large cast iron skillet on the stovetop on medium heat. I'm going to add some more avocado oil. And I want to get this pan super, super hot. Let's go ahead and add our chicken. And we're just going to cook the chicken until it's no longer pink, and we're going to let it finish cooking in our sauce. The rice has started to come to a boil. I'm going to reduce it to a medium low. Let it continue to cook while we're working on the chicken. Chicken is no longer pink, so I'm going to go ahead and remove all the chicken. And now we're going to add the garlic and the ginger. We're going to add about a cup of onions and about a cup of green peppers. And I'm just going to cook this until the onions and the peppers are soft and a little translucent. That's going to take about 8 to 10 minutes. I think I need to add a little bit more avocado oil because I don't want to burn the garlic or the ginger. We are ready to move on. We're going to add our spice blend and about a tablespoon of water. And we just want to bloom the spices for about 1 minute. The smell is delicious. I have a can of diced tomatoes. I'm using the liquid to scrape the bottom of the pan. Make sure we get all that the burnt bits back into our sauce. The recipe calls for yogurt, but I have some organic coconut milk. I'm going to add that instead. And it's a 13.5-ounce can. I want to stir that until the coconut fat melts. I do need to check on the rice. The rice has absorbed all the liquid, but I do want to taste it and make sure it's ready. Perfect. Burner off. I'm going to move that to the back just so it doesn't continue to cook. I want to taste our sauce to see if it needs any salt or pepper. It needs some salt and a pinch of pepper. Let's put our chicken back in here, including any juices that have collected on this plate. I'm going to turn the temperature down to a medium low, and I'm going to let that cook for about 15-20 minutes. Make sure that chicken is cooked all the way through. Now we're cooking thighs, and thighs need to be up to 175 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. If you're using chicken breast, it needs to be 160 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. And we'll give that 15 minutes. Set the timer. Now, while we were waiting for the chicken to finish cooking, I went ahead and got all the dishes washed. I like washing dishes periodically when I'm cooking That way when it's time to eat, I don't have a sink full of dishes. It's been 20 minutes. So I have Garam Masala. I bought this at Lidl's. We need a whole tablespoon. And we need a tablespoon of lemon juice. Now the recipe calls for fresh cilantro. As you saw last week, my cilantro is not doing so good, but I have some dried cilantro from last year, and I'm just going to add that in here. Get everything stirred in. And I'm going to let that cook for about another minute, and then we're ready to eat. And dinner is done. Oh, family, that looks beautiful. Let's go ahead and put it in this bowl. It smells so good, family. Let's see if I can dump it. So we're not ready to eat dinner yet. I do want to sample this with you before you have to leave. And then when the husband's ready, we'll sit down and have dinner. So that's our yellow rice. How beautiful is that? Just because you watch my channel or you watch other channels that cook from scratch, or you find a recipe online that you think looks interesting, you don't have to follow it to the T. Tweak it just a bit with the ingredients you have, ingredients you like. We didn't have yogurt, so I used coconut milk. I had the green pepper, I added the green pepper. I did not have boneless, skinless chicken breasts, but we did have chicken thighs, so we used chicken thighs. And all the other ingredients are the same. But let's taste it, see if we can find the perfect bite with some rice, some sauce, tomatoes, piece of chicken. Family, that is really good. It is not spicy at all. Actually, it probably could have used a little bit more crushed red peppers in my opinion. But oh, family, that is really good. So the onions, I put in a quart-size Ziploc bag. This is a freezer bag. I'll stick this in the freezer, and the next time I need onions, I have them already chopped, ready to go. And if you saw last week's video where we bought a pound of organic ginger, some of y'all suggested plant it and see if I could grow my own ginger. That is a great idea. But unfortunately, by the time I read that, I had already chopped it. So I peeled all the garlic, put it in the food processor, chopped it up, put it in a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, and I made sure it was as even as possible. And then I took the back end of a knife and I went in here and just separated it. And then I froze it. I just gave it a little bit of score line on the ginger, not the bag. And then after it was frozen, I just went in here and broke them up into little cubes. So when I need ginger, all I have to do is grab one of our cubes. It's probably approximately about a tablespoon. This will stay fresh in the freezer for up to a year. But the only thing is you want to make sure you get as much of the air out as possible. And we have frozen, ready to go ginger when we need it for a recipe. So I'm gonna put the ginger and the onions in the freezer. So that's what we're having for dinner tonight. Hopefully this is enough to get us lunch tomorrow. If not, we'll have to cook something. So I'll bring you back tomorrow night when we're ready to cook dinner. And this morning I got up and baked another loaf of sourdough bread. We can have bread with dinner. The next meal we're gonna make is a steak. I took a porterhouse steak out of the freezer. I have it sitting on some paper towels. And then we're going to take care of that in a second. But right now we're working on potatoes. I am using a mandolin, slicing these really, really thin. We're going to make potatoes au gratin. I already did about 5 potatoes. And they are super, super thin. I have them sitting in some water just so they don't oxidize. This little kit right here came with different size graters and shredders. I think we bought this from either our niece or nephew from a school sales thing, a fundraiser. And it's got a little collector thing. I very seldom use this, but I do use it for the mandolin. Please, family, watch your fingers. And when they get too small for me to cut them safely, I'll just take a knife to them. All right, so they're sitting in water until we're ready. So this is our porterhouse steak. Doesn't look like I have to do any trimming. I think we're good. I do want to sprinkle some salt on both sides. And a little bit of pepper. And I'm just going to let that sit right here until we're ready. I went outside and cut a piece of thyme. We're going to use that to season our steak. Let's move over to the stove. We're going to be making a cheesy bechamel for our potatoes au gratin. So I have the saucepan on the stove. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of butter. We're going to go ahead and add a pinch of pepper, a pinch of salt, and I have some chicken broth powder. I'm going to add about a half a tablespoon. We're going to be making a roux, so I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, we're just going to cook that for 1 minute. And I'm going to add 1½ cups of milk. I'm going to cook this for about 5 minutes. Let that milk thicken up with that roux, and then we're going to add some pepper jack cheese. And I have a Ziploc bag that has 2 cups of home grated pepper jack cheese. I'm gonna add 1 cup in here, maybe a cup and a half. Let's say a cup and a half. And I just want to stir this, mix everything together, and let the cheese melt. I do have the oven preheated to 375 degrees. All right, that looks good. Stove off. So I have a 9x9 casserole dish. I do want to put some avocado oil. Make sure we coat the walls and the bottom. Pay attention to those corners. That is perfect. Let's put a layer of our cheese sauce on the bottom. I went ahead and strained the potatoes. Put a nice layer right here on the bottom. And I have some onions I took out of the freezer. These are the ones we chopped yesterday. I'm gonna put about a couple tablespoons. Layer some cheese sauce. Some potatoes. And we're just gonna build layers. We'll cover it with aluminum foil. And I'm gonna put this in a 375 degree oven. It's probably gonna take anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes. I'll let you know how long it takes. I'm not gonna start cooking that steak until about 20 minutes from now. I have the timer set for 20 minutes so I know when it's time to cook that steak, and then we have about 10 to 25 minutes left on those potatoes. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and wash those dishes, get them out of my way. I'll see you when we get closer to putting that steak on the stove. So the potatoes have been in the oven for 20 minutes. Just wanna check on the doneness. I know they're not ready. Oh goodness, nope, they're not ready. All right, I'm gonna put it back in the oven for another 20 minutes. And we'll check it again. So I have the standard size cast iron skillet on the stove top. I'm gonna add a tablespoon of butter. And I want this skillet to be nice and hot. So I want to flavor the butter with some fresh thyme. I'm just going to sit it right in there. And now we can add our steak. Now my goal is to cook this slow. So I have it on a medium-low heat. And I'm going to turn it about every 2 to 3 minutes. And I want it to be medium well. So that's going to be right around 155 degrees. potatoes have been in the oven for a total of 40 minutes. Oh, family, that smells so good. I don't think they're ready yet. All right, looks like it's going to take the whole hour. Then we'll put it back in the oven for another 20 minutes. And I'm still flipping the steak about every 3 to 4 or 5 minutes. And I'm also taking the temperature to make sure we get that perfect doneness. All right, we got maybe a couple more flips and then the steak will be done. I think the steak is between 150 to 160 in different parts. I'm going to go ahead and remove the steak. I have it covered with aluminum foil to hold in the heat. Let's go ahead and make a pan sauce. So we still have the butter and any of the fats that came off that steak. I still have the rosemary. I have 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. This is actually my frozen garlic puck. I think the thyme has done its thing. And I'm going to whisk in about 2 tablespoons of butter, a half a tablespoon at a time. I think we can turn the burner off. So in a small bowl with a fine mesh strainer, I'm going to strain our pan sauce just to remove the garlic from that thyme flavored butter. Now we can tend to our steak. Do and remove the bone. And then I want to give it a little slice. Somewhere about 1/4 to 1/2 inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch. And the reason I cut my steaks like this is because these are pretty big steaks, and the husband and I usually share a steak. I have a plate. So it looks like we have some medium well to medium steaks. Perfect combination. I am not throwing this juices away. Let's go ahead and dump that on there. Oh, beautiful. And I am going to dump our butter just so everything gets nice and flavored. And we'll cover that with aluminum foil. Until we're ready to eat. Let's check on our potatoes. It has been another 15 minutes, not that whole 20. Whew, very warm. Oh yeah, that's what we're looking for. So it was 50 minutes, 53 minutes. Yeah, 53 minutes. So the remainder, pepper jack cheese, I'm gonna sprinkle on top. And put that in the oven uncovered for the remainder of that last 20 minutes. So the potatoes were in the oven for a total of 1 hour. Don't do the 20 minutes increment. But it is bubbly, lava hot. In that last 6 or 7 minutes, we added some cheese on the top. That melted beautiful. I'm going to let it sit here and let it cool off a bit before we dig into it, because I want the starch from those potatoes thicken up our bechamel so it'd be nice and creamy. I have the steak with that flavored butter sauce right here, just staying nice and warm. In about 20 minutes we'll be able to eat. All right, we're not ready to eat dinner, but I do want to give this a sample while I have you here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of potatoes. And some steak. And I have a piece of sourdough bread. Finally, I'm going to put some of this butter sauce on it. Oh, yes. So let's try a piece of steak. That is so good, so flavorful. And some potatoes. They're not overcooked. They're cooked soft, but not mushy. That is really good. And our sourdough bread with that thyme garlic butter. I am very happy with this dinner. As soon as the husband comes home from work, we're going to sit down and have dinner. I'm just going to keep everything covered up until he gets here. So I'll see you next time we get in the kitchen and we'll cook another meal. The last meal we're going to make is pizza and wings. I hope you've already seen the video, but if you haven't, I'll put a link right here where we make our own homemade frozen pizzas. Well, on the day that we made the pizzas, which is today, I saved one of the doughs to make a fresh pizza for tonight. We need to get our wings ready to go into the oven and start working on our pizzas. So in this glass bowl, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of butter. And this is that homemade butter we made together from that 5 gallons of heavy cream we were gifted. I have a little bit of Frank's Red Hot and a little bit of Texas Pete. I'm just going to mix those together. And I'm just going to put this in the microwave until the butter melts. So the butter has melted into the hot sauce. I have a pack of our frozen par-cooked chicken wings. I want to give these a good shake. I think that's good. And I also have the oven preheating to 400 degrees. I got a parchment paper lined cookie sheet. We'll place our wings on here. This is going to go in a 400 degree oven for 15 minutes. Then I'll take them out, turn each one of these wings, put it back in the oven for another 15 minutes. So the pizza sauce is basically my homemade pasta sauce or my homemade marinara sauce. I always take a quart, put it in a bowl, and I add a teaspoon of oregano, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a teaspoon of onion powder. Mix that together. It's a good way to take a marinara sauce and turn it into a pizza sauce so you're not canning multiple things that are similar. We have our marinara sauce, simple ingredients, and you have pizza sauce. But I already did that and it's right here. So I have my parchment paper, I have one of my proofed pizza doughs. And this is a handy little tool when you're rolling out pizza dough or making bread. I picked this up from Azure Standard for like less than $5. I started off with my hands. And then I just roll it out, starting in the center and moving out, and I'm turning the dough as I'm working it. And I'm just getting it about 12 inches so it fits inside my large cast iron skillet. I think that looks good. So I have the 12-inch cast iron skillet. I've had this in the oven, warming up with the oven at 400 degrees. Put a little bit of avocado oil on the bottom. And then I have some polenta, which is just a very coarse cornmeal. Sprinkle that in there. And now we'll take our pizza dough. Listen to that sizzle. That is a hot pan, family. So we have our pizza sauce. Go ahead and put that in here. Now this is where my pizzas differ from when I'm making them to go into the freezer. I am going ahead and put all the sauce on this raw dough. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the cheese. And I'm going to put this back in the oven for about 20-30 minutes. It should be about the same time that the wings are done, because we got them in there 15 minutes. We have to rotate those and then cook them for another 15 minutes. Pizza going in the oven. And after the husband and I have dinner, I will go ahead and finish the rest of the pizza so I can get those ready for the freezer. The wings have been in the oven for 15 minutes. Give them a turn. Ooh, that's some hot sauce. Back in the oven for another 15 minutes. The pizza has been in the oven for approximately about 20 minutes. The wings are still in the oven. I do want to check the bottom. Oh yeah, perfect. Put it on this cutting board. Look at that, family. Isn't it beautiful? And we'll leave it right here while we're waiting on those wings. They still have 6 minutes left. Wings have been in the oven for a total of 30 minutes. So we have our wings and we have our pizza. So a plate for the husband. And this hot sauce is not going to go to waste. I'm going to put that right on my pizza. Ooh, yummy. My son got me this last year when he went to the Renaissance Fair. It's like a spicy ranch. So I figured I'll use that as my dipping sauce for my wings and my pizza. So the husband and I are going to sit down and have dinner. Can't wait to bring you back in the kitchen. We'll make another delicious meal. After dinner, I've got to make the pizzas to get them ready for the freezer. And if you haven't already seen the frozen pizza video, it's going to be in the description below. So that's what we had this week. If you don't mind, in the comment below, please let us know what you were eating this week. Plus, what is your favorite recipe that we made? Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. While you're at it, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you part of the Grammy family. In this kitchen, we cook with ingredients. Real food with real ingredients to feed our family a healthy, nourished meal to help us get through the day and do the things we need to do. So please hit that subscribe button. So until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Bye, family. Can't wait to show you what we're doing next week. It's going to be a good one.